Sometimes the weight of truth is too heavy to carry, and sometimes it's easier to carry someone else's burden, even if it costs you your freedom, even if it costs you everything. This is the story of Jerome Carter, a man who walked into a police station and confessed to a murder he didn't commit. Why? To save the only family he had left, his brother. It was the summer of 1995. In a quiet neighborhood of St. Louis, Missouri, a small corner grocery store was robbed. The cashier, a kind old man named Harold Jenkins, was shot and killed. No security footage, no fingerprints. Just one witness said they saw someone running, someone wearing a hoodie, limping slightly. The police canvassed the area, no solid leads. Tension grew fast. This wasn't a big city crime. This was personal. People wanted justice. 3 days later, Jerome Carter walked into the police station. "I heard someone's been arrested," he said. The officer looked confused. "No one's been arrested yet? Why?" Jerome took a breath and whispered, "It was me. I killed the man." He told them about the robbery, the struggle, the gunshot. He described the inside of the store, the cash drawer, even the sound of the register bell. But something didn't add up. Jerome had no prior record. He was quiet, kind. He worked at a garage during the day and took care of his younger brother, Calvin, at night. Calvin was different. Diagnosed with schizophrenia at 17, he had episodes, violent ones, and the night of the murder, he had come home with blood on his hoodie. Jerome never told the police that part. He never mentioned Calvin. He just kept saying, "I did it. I want to get this over with." And so, they charged him with second-degree murder. At trial, his public defender was puzzled. There was no forensic evidence, no gun, no motive. But Jerome wouldn't change his story. He pled guilty. He was sentenced to 28 years in prison. The courtroom was silent. No media frenzy, no protest. Just one man walking quietly into a life he never deserved. Behind bars, Jerome was known as the mechanic. He fixed fans, lights, and anything broken. He read books. He wrote letters to Calvin every week, telling him to stay clean, to stay safe, to stay out of trouble. But Calvin was unraveling. In 2018, 23 years after the crime, Calvin was found in a homeless shelter, mumbling to himself. One of the volunteers noticed him writing in a journal over and over again. The words read, "I didn't mean to shoot him. I just wanted the money. Jerome told me to go home. He said he would fix everything." That journal made its way to a legal aid worker. She contacted an Innocence Project, and suddenly, Jerome's name was back in the system. They reopened the case. The journal matched details never made public. Even the limp the witness saw. Calvin had an old injury from a bike accident. Jerome didn't. In court, Jerome looked older, thinner, but calm. When the judge asked him why he confessed, he looked at Calvin, sitting in the back row, shaking, and simply said, "He's my brother. He wouldn't have survived prison, but I could." The room fell silent. Some tears, some disbelief, some quiet awe. The judge vacated his conviction. Jerome walked out after 23 years. There were no cameras, no crowds, just Calvin waiting outside, holding a styrofoam cup of coffee. Hands trembling, eyes red. Jerome hugged him, long, tight, and whispered, "You're still my brother." Today, Jerome lives in Kansas City. He works at an auto shop. He gives free repairs to people who can't afford them. And once a month, he visits Calvin in a mental health facility. They sit, sometimes talk, sometimes just breathe. Jerome never sued the state, never gave interviews, never looked for fame. When someone asked him why he never fought back all those years, he replied, "Fighting wouldn't have helped my brother, and if I had to choose again, I'd do it all over." Some people fight for justice, others choose sacrifice. And sometimes the deepest love doesn't scream, it whispers in silence and walks into darkness, alone. If this story moved you, Subscribe to Truth in Shadows, because the world needs to hear the stories others were too afraid to tell.